In today's Necrons and More live stream show, we've got, well, it's jammed packed. We've got Tactical Corner, we've got What's in the Box, we've got Necrons of the Week, we've even got more. And I'm going to be looking at my very first draft of my very first list with the Flayed ones. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this live stream. Right, what a jam-packed show we've got for you today. However, before we start the show, we're going to wait and let people join in because we've only got 10 people watching at the moment. We're going to get the numbers up. In the meantime, let's have a little chit-chat about what's been going on in the land of IDICBeer. So you may have recalled in my last show, I had car trouble with a dashboard light for my airbag. Well, things got a lot worse than that. I was driving along all happy, and then my ABS light came on, and then my EPS light or ESP light came on, and then the steering went stiff, and the car died. So I had to get it collected in the garage. Apparently it was the alternator. It took them a week to repair it. I don't know why, they just kept delaying me. Apparently it's like an hour job just to repair it. Anyway, it took them a week. I collected the car, and guess what happened? The very next day, exactly the same thing happened. So they collected it and repaired it. So they did do that in the same day that time. So I got my car back, but it cost me a fortune. It was very stressful. And on Monday, this Monday coming, I've got the MOT and service on the car, so I'm not looking forward to that. The airbag light is still on, so hopefully they can fix that in the MOT. But yeah, what a disaster. Okay, let's have a look, see who is in the stream. We've got 17 people. Welcome, everyone. So we have Mark Kirby. Hello, Mark. We also have Craig Holland. Good evening to Craig. And we have CM Wargames. Richard, of course, my gaming buddy. How are you doing, Richard? So yeah, a bit of a disaster with the car, but fingers crossed the MOT won't be too expensive. So, what have I been up to? Well, I've been making a lot of videos. You may have noticed I've upped my video content from 1 a week to 2 a week. So I feel like I've settled in now into the new place, and I'm increasing my uploads because, well, I want to gain a bit more traction on the channel. And obviously the more uploads you do, the more chance you've got of gaining that traction. So I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers at some point this year, and I'm planning for a big giveaway when I get to 25k as well. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. It's a quarter of the way to 100,000 subscribers. And that silver play button, I've got a space on the wall where it's going to go if I ever get there. Probably not, to be fair, but you never know. And you have to have like an ambition, don't you? So that is my end goal. So yeah, I've upped my game, 2 videos a week. I didn't do one today because I'm going live. That counts as a video. So Monday and Thursday is the aim. However, the end of the week, end of the month, on the 25th, is my birthday. And it's not just a normal birthday, it's a big one. It's the big 50. So we've got relatives coming to stay for that weekend. It's also Mother's Day weekend. And unbelievably, it's also the end of the financial year weekend for my company. And I have to do a stock take on the Sunday. So my birthday's on the Friday. I booked the weekend off, and now I've got to go into work. It's annoying, but what can I do? What can I do? But yeah, big birthday coming up. How about that? 50. I can't believe it. Dom Booth says Necrons. Hello, Dom. And we've got Latchbox who says hi. And we have Jar S Ist Ish. He says hi. Hi, Jar. How are you doing? So, what else? Yes. Of course, I do have the facility for super chats on the channel. Just wanted to remind everyone. So if you do feel like you would like to donate to the channel, support the channel, maybe give me a birthday present, then the super chat is there for you. And I have a special little super chat feature. If someone super chats, I press the button and it comes up, and it's actually got my girlfriend's voice on there. Yes. So I thought I would just put that in there, because if I don't talk about it, people don't know about it. Okay, so shall we go on to hobby? We've got a, hey, 25th of March, that's my birthday, Latchbox. Oh, there you go, Aries, best sign. Get everyone in to do the stock take. Yeah, that would be good. We've got the auditor monitoring our stock take this year, so that should be fun. So hobby-wise, I have been very busy. I've been converting my Ophidian destroyers, 3 of them. So I've got 3 already, which I built exactly like the instruction book, and then I've converted 3, and I made a video on that as well, which will be up Monday. So that's what I've been doing for my hobby. However, what am I going to be doing next? Well, that brings me nicely on to my first feature of the live stream. What's in the box?
Necrons!
Yes, what is in the box? Because I have a delivery. I have opened it already, but it came today, and I thought, well, I'd show you on camera. So, Doom Booth, 29th myself. You see, we're all Aries. Mark Kirby says, boring stock taking. Ah, yes. Right, in here we have the bases or sellotaped. These are from eBay, yes. We have some Scorpec destroyers, 3 of them. I was given 3 by Charlie Thorpe, one of my subscribers. Thank you, Charlie. I have them, and I've got another 6 of these coming from Nick from Old Average Brick Gaming, which I bought from his Indomitus sets. So I've got 12 destroyers to make to give me 3 units of 6. 3 units of 6 Scorpec destroyers. It's going to be fun. I'm thinking of batch painting all the Scorpecs and the Ophidians, just like all in one go. So it'll be 18 miniatures. It shouldn't be too bad because it's a pretty basic painting scheme. And I'll probably just make a painting tutorial for each one as well. I know my painting tutorials don't necessarily do that well on the channel when I upload them, but they're one of those sort of evergreen videos that people will find as they search for them, and hopefully some people find them useful anyway. So that will be the plan. Scorpec destroyers, all those power weapons. Yep, they've got some very nice weapons. Nice, I love Scorpecs. Black Sword says, good day, IDICBeer and Necrons and More. I found an Aussie stockist of really useful boxes and magnetic sheets in Australia. Sheets. Well, you might have sheeps as well. Sheets in Australia. That's brilliant. Well done. Awesome stuff. Now, of course, my channel is called Necrons and More. And today's Necron and More live show is going to have a More section, because I bought the Outdoor Codex. I don't have it in my hand yet, unlike some channels, but I have purchased it. I pre-ordered it, so picking it up on Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to it because, well, I have an Eldar army, and amongst lots of other armies, but the Eldar army is going to be coming out to play. Not a lot, but a bit, because, well, I haven't played them for, I think I've skipped 2 codices, so it's been quite some time. But I like my army, I like seeing it on the table, and really can't wait to play it. So the first game will be me playing Eldar and Richard playing my Necrons, so it's going to be fun. I appreciate your build and paint videos. Thank you, Dino Dave. Oh, Eldar. Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's just going to be fun. My Eldar army are fairly themed. I've got like a what I call a Mechdar army. So basically lots of grav tanks and Vipers and stuff. But yeah, I've got a good amount of it painted, not all of it, but most of it's painted, so I'll just be playing the painted stuff. So talking of that, I think it's time to go table down and show you a couple of my Eldar models, just for a change. So let's do this. So we need table down view, which is this one. So let's have a look at this one. This is my Eldar Crimson Hunter stroke, because it is magnetized, Hemlock Wraith Fighter. So I made this one. It's basically the carcass of a falcon, which I got given. It was all glued together. I had to strip it, take all the parts off, and then I converted it using some of the actual flyer bits. And yeah, I had a lot of fun making this. There's a whole series of videos on me actually making this conversion. Obviously, then I painted it. But yeah, this is my flyer, which you may see on the table. We're probably going to play 1,000 points to start with, so it may not be in the first game. But yeah, you can see I've got the Forge World bits there. So that's the Forge World Wave Serpent Mark II upgrade kit, which I've used on there, which just makes the Wave Serpent a bit longer. And obviously gives you the engines. Can't remember what they're called now. Vectored engines, is it? Yeah, so that is my Crimson Hunter. So I thought I would show you that. What a blasphemy, Dave P says. And well, let's continue with our More section of Necrons and More. We are going to look at my Eldar Wraith Knight. Now this again is converted, well, it's magnetized more, but there is a conversion because if you don't know by now, I'm a massive Star Trek fan. And, well, this has a Klingon Batleth. Yes, that was just the base, by the way. So I did this massive themed base. I've got a skimmer on there, which he's standing on. And yeah, I gave him a Batleth because it's so cool. I always wanted Batleths in my Eldar army, and originally I was thinking of putting it on the Farseers, but it was so small I couldn't really do it. But when I got this Wraith Knight, I thought that's a perfect opportunity. So the Batleth came from one of those action figures that you get. So I had one of those, and yeah, put it on here and painted it, and it's all magnetized. It's got all weapon options, so I can change it about. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting him on the table. Again, he may not be in the first 1,000 point list because I'd imagine he's a fair few points. Don't actually know, but we'll see. Sean says, to be fair, if Eldar had good models when I started, I'll be playing them instead. I think Eldar are a pretty good balanced army. I just don't like the models. A lot of people don't like the models, and I have to be honest, when I first started playing, I didn't like the Eldar models at all. The only reason that I got into Eldar, let's go back to my normal screen. Yeah, the main reason I got back into Eldar, and I didn't get back into it, but got into them, is I was coming home from work one day. I walked past a charity shop, and in the window was a box of Guardians and a Farseer, and there's like a couple of pounds. So I thought, how can I not buy that? So I bought it, and then I thought, well, I've got the models, I better get the Codex, and then I got the Codex, and then my local sort of shop that used to sell Warhammer was closing down, and they did a 20% sell off everything. So I just basically went in, I bought loads of Eldar models, and then I spent the next X amount of years trying to paint them. So yeah, that's how I got into Eldar. But yeah, something a little different, a bit of fun, just to change things up. And the ultimate goal is not to have Necrons versus Orcs every battle report. So that's what Richard and I are aiming towards, a bit of variety. The purple and white contrast with yellow gems is great, really striking. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I was inspired by the Bautan. I liked the Bautan look, but I really wanted purple because it was my favourite colour. And obviously, if you go to the colour wheel, which is where I got the scheme from, the yellow was the ideal colour, and then I added in some blue for all the energy effects. I've collected Eldar since early 90s. It was my first army, just Goodwin design and art inspired, fantastic. It's cool looking, but I'm looking forward to coming out in our next game. Okay, so I think it's back to Necrons. Yeah, back to Necrons. And it's going to be time for, if I can find the right button,
Necrons
of the week.
Yes, it is Necrons of the week. This is the part of the show where I look at, well, the community's work on Necrons. This week, or this month, we are on Instagram, and I've added an extra model to look at. So we've got 6 this time as opposed to 5. My plan is to up it each show because I think it just goes too quick. So I think we need more. So we'll try 6 and see how it gets on. Dave P says Necrons. Dave P is part of my membership, which is why he's got some cool emojis. So if you want those cool emojis, then don't forget to become an IDICBeer member, which you can join by just pressing that join button just there. Phil Hall, thank you very much. He has just become a member. You've activated this.
Necrons!
Thank you for becoming an IDICBeer member.
Thank you, Phil. It's been nice to be able to press that button. It's been a while. Tyranids are in the way. I'll have a Tyranid army as well, so we do plan to get that codex as well. Yes. Okay, Necrons of the week. Let us get to the right camera angle. Yeah. Okay, so the first Necron of the week is this guy here. Actually, this guy is a part of a very big army. It's by Maybug_games, and of course it's a proxy for a Void Dragon. And we've got the is it Blackstone Fortress model, I think, there, which we can clearly see that sort of headpiece. I've always liked that miniature. Oh, I need to change the angle. Bear with me 1 second so you can see a bit more. I need to bring on that one and take off. Ooh, where it's all going wrong. Hello? Why is that not working? Bear with me 1 second. Ah, there we go. Is that better? Right. I think you can see it better now. So yeah, really, really cool conversion. I'm not 100% sure I like the arms, but we can go with the flow. So yeah, the whole army is sort of based around aliens. It's a cool concept. Obviously using the original Void Dragon miniature, it's got the Void Dragon legs there, and just built upon it. Very, very cool. Really, really like it. Right, let's have a look at the next one. We have this one here by Doubter of Cain. Doubter of Cain. And I'm showing this because, wow, this is like an awesome paint scheme. However, when you read what the poster has said, basically said a little throwback to some of my first Necrons in my previous and initial colour scheme. When I worked on my Doomscythe, I got completely hooked on Necrons. After that, I knew they would be my favourite army. Unfortunately, this colour scheme took me a very long time to do. So he's basically redid his army and changed the colour scheme because it just took too long. But, I mean, wow. I mean, it just shows you Necrons can be as basic as you like. You know, just paint them silver like I do. Or you can absolutely go to town. You know, there's no way that you could say, "Oh, Necrons, you know, that you can't do much with them." I mean, wow, yeah, these look absolutely stunning. Really, really amazing. We have a wow from Jar in the comments. Mark says yes, good colour mix. Nom nom nom. Okay, we're talking about Tyranids there. Okay, the next one. The Necrons of the week. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, it's because I've got these varifocals on, so I just need to see. Okay, the next one is this one by David Ballistic Miniatures, and I thought this was really cool. Very different colour scheme, and obviously they've got chipping all over the actual Necron himself. Some really nice gradients on the sword. It's not a fire sword, but it's not like over bright. It sort of works really well. But I think what's clever about it is where he's put the same glow effects, like in the ribs, in the eyes, on the arm, and it just brings everything together. And then when contrasted with that sort of bluey colour, it just works really well. And that chipping just adds that extra detail. Very, very nice, very different. Really liking it. That's amazing, especially the arms. Does that Technomancer spider make scarabs as well? Does that Technomancer spider make scarabs as well? Not quite sure what that's referring to. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. Now, this is my favourite from today's batch, I have to say. This is from, I need to check who it's from. Elementostri, can't even say it. Elm in Iaturista. That's about as close as I can get it. But yeah, this is so cool. I mean, I've always wanted to do some sort of like energy effects, like where models are like phasing in. But this is just amazing. Just these death marks coming through, and the way they're painted as well. Such a nice feel. You can see there's like a piece of plastic there. I'm not quite sure what that is at the back behind the shield and how he's got the effects. I have no idea how it's done, but it's just yeah, just so. Oh, I've got a video. I didn't even know that. Oh wow, look at that. Got the light on the back. That is awesome. Absolutely love that. Even the orbs, like the glow that he's got on the orbs. Very, very nice. That's a baller. That's nice. Oh wow, brings the death marks to life. The spider character, the character is riding on. Spider character. Do you mean the Technomancer, yeah? He can bring back a Canoptic unit using one of his Arcana. That's an amazing paint job. It truly is. It truly is. As I said, this like literally was my favourite of tonight's show. However, we've got a couple more to look at, so let's have a look at them. We have this one, which is also very, very cool and very, very rusty. You've heard of the Rusty Crons, well here they are. So this is by Warzone Studio. We have a, well, it almost like a Nurgling infested Rusty Cron. He's got Nurgles everywhere, whatever they're called, those little Nurgling things. On the base, on his arm. So maybe something's happened to him rather than just being rusty. But either way, he looks really, really cool. What do we think of this? What do we think of this guy? I've never been a huge fan of like rusty crons. I personally wouldn't do my Necrons rusty. But they always do look, they still look cool. Just not how I envisage Necrons because, well, for me. When I got the Necrons, I was really into Terminator, and that's what they reminded me of. So I just see the Necrons as Terminators, and they're not rusty. So yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at the last one. These guys here, Warriors. I was going to show you these because they've got a very cool, very unusual gun barrel. Obviously, these are Flare Warriors, and I have no idea what that is, the gun barrel. I'm assuming, and it almost looks like a screw, but I very much doubt that is a screw because it would be heavy. So I'm assuming maybe it's just 3D printed. But either way, it looks really, really cool. And whilst I've seen lots of alternatives done to the flare, the green rod, I've never seen anything like that. It looks really, really cool. I bet that, well, I'm not saying I don't like the colour scheme, but I bet it would look really cool if that was green. Yeah, so green highlights on the twirly bit. Different, yeah, it's very different. Necron Bedhead. He looks like he was sleeping in a bad place. Yeah, the previous one. Yeah. A Chaos Necron. I suppose he could be a Chaos Necron. I did see, can't remember who it was. I think it was White Metal Games. They did a Necron Orc army. So it's one army. It had Necron bits and Orc bits, like converted. Every model was converted. So you could either use it as a Necron army or you could use it as an Orc army. That was pretty cool. I mean, that was years ago. But yeah, very, very cool. Pasta. It could be pasta. Yeah. And it has those little lines on it. Like, I'm assuming it's got to be 3D printed, but I could be totally wrong. It doesn't actually say anything in the description. It just says Necron Warrior. But oh, it's by, I didn't say this, it's by Warganizer.app. Yes. Just joined in. What did I miss? You missed me looking at some Aldar models of mine, and you've missed Necrons of the Week, which we've just finished. Okay, so we are back. Heads up. Rotini inbound. Okay, so we are halfway through the show already. Unbelievable, the time going so quick. I will be doing the tactical corner later in the video, and in a minute we're going to have a look or a chat about Flayed Ones, in particular my 60 strong themed list. First of all though, if you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask me in the chat box. I'll keep an eye out for them, and we can have a chat at the end of the stream as well. We've currently got 22 people watching. I know I'm clashing with The Apprentice, which is obviously what most people are doing, watching The Apprentice and not me. And to be fair, if I wasn't streaming, I'd be watching it. However, I'm recording it so I can watch it tomorrow. Yes. Eldentacrons. Praise that pays. Husk. I have no idea what anyone's talking about. Okay, so let's have a chat about Flayed Ones, in particular my Flayed One list. Yes. Just in case you don't know this already, many years ago, back in, well, I think we were in 5th edition at that time, where Flayed Ones just weren't very good. Actually, they were dreadful. I mean, the best you could do with them is take a unit of 5 and infiltrate them just as a distraction. And I made a video about Flayed Ones in a series called the Necron Learning Curve, and in that video, I basically dogged the Flayed ones, saying how bad they were. And after I made the video, I thought, if they're that bad, then how can I make them work? And I was inspired to do a list centered around Flayed ones to try and make them work. So I collected 60 Flayed ones here and there on eBay. They're all metal ones. Painted them. I painted all the miniatures in 1 month, and yeah, came up with some lists. It turned out later in Games Workshop Necron releases that Flayed ones got good again. So in 7th edition, they were probably at their best because they had a 4+ RP. And they were pretty nasty. Reroll. I think they used to re-roll all the wounds. Yeah, they were nasty. And then, of course, 9th edition came out, and sorry, then 8th edition came out, and they went downhill because they got expensive. I think they went up to like 21 points from 13 points. 21 points, and I never used them in 8th edition. 9th edition, they would have been okay, but now that they're core and they've come down to 10 points each, they're pretty amazing again. So it's time to get my list on the table. They would be really good in troops. They would, and to be fair, since the old 3rd edition codex, I've been saying, please make Flayed Ones troops. So yeah, we've had like 5 codices since then, and there haven't been troops. So I've been trying to build a list centered around 60 Flayed ones, and whilst that sounds pretty easy, I mean, they're only 10 points each, so yeah, it's only 600 points for 60 Flayed ones. So if you're making a 2,000 point list, you've got loads of points left. Well, that is true. There's making those Flayed ones work for you. That's the challenge. And of course, we've got lots of tricks that we could use, including, there's the Bell of Darkness. We could potentially just deep strike them. You've got the monolith. You've got the Night Scythe with the stratagem, etc. There's quite a bit that we could do with them. However, in my first list, I didn't want to use all of those tricks because I find the best thing to do is generally start with the basics. If you can get the basics down, you then can easily see where you could add stuff, rather than going all in and just like playing all of the tricks in one go and then realizing half the time they either don't work or you have too many points invested in them. So I find it's best to build on those. So I've gone for a more basic list in terms of like tricks. There's not many tricks in there, but my main idea is to get a basis for my list. So with all that said and done, let's have a quick look at some of my units that I've got in this list. So we are going to go to this view, and we're going to turn this off and this on. And here we go. Let's just make sure your view is correct. It is correct. So Flayed Crons 2022. Now bear with me because this is the very first rough draft. Okay, so there's nothing set in stone. This is like just my very first thoughts. So I've gone for a battalion because the battalion, of course, opens up 6 elite slots. I've also gone at the moment for objective secure and the pre-game move. Now, of course, we know that Novok is probably just as good, if not better, maybe. But I just think that having those objective secure units, especially the Flayed ones, is going to be very good, especially for the new missions where you're very much centered around the middle of the board. So that's what I've decided to go for now. The HQ choices that I put down, I just put a couple of HQs in there just to lock a couple in there because that's very changeable. At the moment, I've just gone for 2 Chronomancers, and the reason for that is for the 5+ invulnerable save. I know there's lots of other stuff that we could be doing. Mine will be dunning them. There's lots of things that we could do. +1 to strength from Anreka, etc. So those are almost like just token characters for now, just as I built on the list. We've got some ideas coming here. What are the basics? I'm just showing you the basics now. Okay, so troops. Now I've gone for troops because my original Flayed One list worked this way. You had small units of troops that just sat on objectives, and the Flayed Ones went. No, they didn't actually. The Flayed Ones went into reserve, and then I had Wraiths and Scarabs who charged forward, protecting my troops, and then the Flayed Ones came in from deep strike. That's just not really going to happen. 3 units of 20 from deep strike. The table's much smaller, the terrain is much more dense, and I don't think that's a good idea. So I've actually gone away from that. However, I do want to keep the 3 units of troops because they will help me take objectives. And I've gone for Immortals because obviously they are the cheapest choice. They've got 3+ save, get them in cover, 2+ save, and they've got some nice longer ranged guns, so I can still shoot as well. So that's what I've gone for there. Right, so elites, what have we got? Okay, there we go. Just make sure you can see that. Yep. So of course 3 units of 20 Flayed Ones, and I put DS by one of them. So in this format of list, I've decided that 1 unit will deep strike, just give me that deep strike threat, and the other 2 units are going to just be at the front and just push forward. Question about Flayed Ones, do they get a reanimation? They do. They do have RP. What weapons on Immortals? Gauss for sure. So yes, so that's the plan there. And then, rather than Wraiths, because I've been playing Wraiths a lot, I do like Wraiths, but rather than Wraiths, I thought it'd be pretty cool to get some Spiders in there, because I've played 3 units of Spiders before, and they're pretty good, and their guns, you get a reasonable amount of shooting. And I've got the option to put prisms on there as well to stop any psychic powers, or at least reduce the psychic powers. So 2 units of 3 spiders, which means I'll of course need some scarabs in there. So we then have 2 units of scarabs. We have a unit of 7 and a unit of 8, and they are going to work. So each unit of 3 spiders, a unit of scarabs, and the Flayed Ones are just going to work as a blob. So I'll have basically 2 big blobs pushing forward, and then the 3rd unit of Flayed Ones will deep strike, potentially behind enemy lines or in a more favourable area. So that's the idea there. However, of course, I do need some more shooting, and I need some tank popping guns. And well, I've gone for this. I've gone for 2 units of heavy destroyers. They can potentially take objectives at the back and shoot. And of course, if I use the command protocol where you can shoot to do an action, that could be a potential option as well, down to the fact that, of course, they're infantry. That comes in at 2,000 points. And like I said, that's just the base of my list. So it's like the fundamentals. Now I do need to tweak this. It's not 100% set, and I haven't got my warlord traits or my relics in there. But it was just my first thoughts of a list. What do you think? probably a little different to what you thought, but as I said, I've experienced playing this army over many editions, so I know sort of how to play it, and you don't necessarily need all of those tricks there. And I think with the 9th edition missions, where they're very central based, having these blobs, which basically just are difficult to kill, they're going to go in the centre, and especially if everything's objective secure, I think, they've got a good chance. They've got a good chance. And it is a themed list, and remember, it's hard to write a very competitive list that's themed. But the idea of a themed, what you really want with a themed list is basically just to keep your theme, give yourself a chance, and have some fun. That's what this list is all about. CM Wargames, he says that's interesting. Looks a really fun list, says Craig. Thank you, Craig. Would a warden with a cloak not work? A warden, royal warden would work. He doesn't have a cloak though, does he? But he would allow me to fall back, which, well, it's fall back and shoot, so I don't know that's going to be ideal. I think it'd be better off with, say, Overlord to give me that +1 to attack. I think, let's face it, I think Anraker the Traveller probably would do very well in this list. What about like a mainly Canoptic list? I've done that already, not since the new updates, the core changes, etc. But I have done a Canoptic list in the past. I will be revisiting that. But at the moment, I'm concentrating on the Flayed One list and the Silent King list. Need a noble to get command protocols. What is your thoughts on a noble? Yeah, I totally agree, and I am definitely thinking I'll need at least an overlord in there. As I said, those two chronomancers were really just like filling the gap so I could like build on the list, because I had to start somewhere. Vow to jump the first blob into place. I could definitely do that, or to vow a blob out of trouble if I need to. Novok would be good, but I agree with your choice. I think Novok would be potentially more fun, more threatening, more themed. But if I want to win the mission, I've got a feeling that objective secure is going to be needed. Do you think Necrons are better in close combat at this moment or in shooting? I think they're reasonable at both, but not amazing at both. I just wish our big guns weren't so swingy. That's our letdown. Necrons were a shooty army. We used to be fantastic at shooting. When I first started, we just shot everything off the table. Our Gauss actually did stuff. Auto wound anything on a 6, and then auto glancing. Was it glancing hit? I think it was called on the vehicles. We used to be very good at shooting, but not so much now. I think they're trying to make us a bit of everything. We just need some little tweaks here and there, and we could be good at everything. I was going to say maybe Trazin. I think Trazin, yeah. I thought I could use him to jump him and another unit across the board. Yeah, I mean, this is it. I've got so many options, but I just want to start with. I just want to play it a bit more basic, and then go from there. Because I can see what happens after a couple of games. I'll be able to work out. Do I need to deep strike the 3rd unit, or do I need to play it? Do I need to devour units in? Do I not need to? I'll be able to see how it goes. Necrons are a close combat army, and melee is where I see their strength at the moment. Probably just because of that randomness. We do have a lot of randomness on the guns, but I think it's possible to make a very potent shooting army. But I think the game itself is aimed towards melee. But I don't think we're particularly strong at melee. glancing at a land raider to death with warriors. Yeah, that was right. And of course, scarabs. I mean, do you remember when scarabs used to take the armor penetration down of a vehicle? That was just so good. I had 2 units of 10 scarabs. My buddy had 2 land raiders. I assaulted both of them and I killed both of them with my little strength 3 scarabs. They were armor 14. What about taking the Silent King? I will be taking the Silent King, but not in the Flayed Ones list. I'm going to have a different themed list with the Silent King. Although you may see some Flayed Ones in my Silent King list, but not 60 Flayed Ones. What does the Convergence of Dominion do? Not a lot. Oh, I've got it. I painted it because I love the miniatures, but I just can't seem to play them. Those warriors with Gauss Reapers in Novak are good at both, especially with the king next to them. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Then you could crunch CM Wargames Orcs on his backline. Okay, so I thought I would share that with you. To be fair, it's been a few weeks since I made this list. I haven't revisited it because I've been working on other things. I've got a new list in a battle report coming to the channel. Richard and I played the game yesterday. Well, I say a new list, it's an old list, but I tweaked it slightly. Fun game, great game, close game, so definitely worth having a look at that. Okay, so we are now coming to a different part of the show, and it is
Necrons!
Tactical Corner.
Yes, it's the tactical corner. Oh,
Necrons!
I don't mind Necron Girl saying Necrons, but it was the wrong button. Yeah, different. So now we are doing Necron's tactical corner. Yes. And today's segment is called Get Your Orders Right. And we're going to talk about these, which you can't see, the command protocol cards. I thought that what I would do is run over the protocols and just share a bit of my experience of how I found them, because I'm sure they're different from yours. So I thought it might be good to have a look at those. Now, obviously, we know all about all of the hoops that you have to go through to get your command protocols. It's a pain in the bum, especially when other armies don't have to do it or they get it easier. It should be a lot easier for us, that's for sure. However, we have to make the most, get the best out of what we got, and that's what we need to do. Now, it's fair to say that I think the command protocols are most important in the first 2 or 3 turns. I think 3 turns. By turn 4 and 5, you're probably not going to be in range of them. Not many units are going to benefit from them because of the restrictions that there are. So getting those 3 command protocols in the first 3 turns correct is very important and actually can swing the game one way or the other. So it's difficult to get right because obviously you have to guess the order. You can't just say, right, this turn I'm going to use that, which would be ideal. You have to guess before the game, but if you can guess it right, it can swing things. So let's have a look at them. So first of all is the protocol of the Eternal Guardians. I've got the cards here just as a reminder. Now this one, when I first started playing with the 9th edition codex, this one I never used because it just seems so complicated. It's like, I don't really need to read all that. I mean, it's like a little essay on the card. And the others just, at the time, seemed a much better. So I actually didn't really use that. However, in the last few games, I have been using it. And I've been using it on turn 1. And it saved my bacon. Admittedly, I played it wrong once because you have to stand still. So basically, you have Directive 1, which means if you don't move, you are deemed to be in light cover, so you get a cover save, which is very, very useful. However, of course, if you have the pre-game move, it basically negates that, so you can't actually get it. But if you know you're going second, even if you have the pre-game move and you stand still and you have this active, it's really, really good. I was being shot by Richard with -3 AP weapons with my destroyers, and yeah, I was getting more saves because I was getting a 5+ save as opposed to a 6+ save, and it saved my bacon. Now the good advantage of this one is if you don't go first, then you have another directive, which is set to defend your units if you get assaulted, which is pretty useful. You still have to remember to do them because I did forget to do that in one of my games. So trying to remember them as well because there's so many bits and pieces to remember, but very useful. So I like that one. I didn't at first, but I do now. The next one is Protocol of the Sudden Storm, which I was using quite a lot when we first started 9th edition, because Directive 1 gives you an extra 1-inch movement, and that was really useful. Whether you've got the pre-game move or not, an extra 1-inch movement coupled with My Will Be Done means your warriors, for example, they can move 7 inches now. Chuck in an advance roll, and you're moving a minimum of 8 inches. Bearing in mind, obviously, if you're using Reapers, they're probably not going to be shooting because they're not going to be in range. But pretty useful. But not only that, if you do have a pre-game move, let's say you've got Wraiths. I mean, mine will be done on Wraiths with this. And a pre-game move, that's 6 inches, then you get your 2 inches extra and your 12-inch movement. You can move 20 inches, and then you've got your assault roll. Pretty useful. Now, Directive 2 is allowing you to basically do an action and still shoot, which is very, very good if you get it right. My recent battle report with Richard, which was coming to the channel soon, I had this at Directive 1 because the mission was to do a lot of action. So I thought, yeah, great, I'll put that in, I'll be able to do the action, but actually I didn't need it. So again, it's so important to get these right because I wasted my directive then. But it's a useful one, it's a good one. Maybe put a dice on the card or under the card to draw your attention to it. Yeah, I might try that, or just like hold it in front of me like this. So the next one is Vengeful Stars, which of course if you're in the Mefrit dynasty you get to use both of these. Basically it's a shooting card. So when these are Directive 1, you get an extra armor penetration on a wound roll to 6. And then if you're at half range on the Directive 2, there's no cover save available. Sounds really good, especially if you're playing Mefrit and you can use both of them. What I found though is that with Mefrit, it tends to be a bit overkill because Mefrit already have that AP advantage. I mean, it is good, but it's not my favourite one, even though it sounds really good, like a shooting one. Dave P.
Super Chat.
Thanks for donating.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Dave P has donated and said, happy early birthday. Have a drink on me. Thank you, Dave. I really, really appreciate that. Thanks so much. So yeah, Vengeful Stars.
Necrons!
Keep pressing the wrong button. We don't care though. Necron Girl says Necron, so it's all good. Okay, next one is Protocol of the Hungry Void. So this, of course, is the close combat orientated one, and potentially with a Novok army, a very, very good one. I think this is obviously pretty useful. So, of course, on this one, you get on an unmodified wound roll of a 6, improve the armor penetration characteristic by 1, and then Directive 2, if this unit makes a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention, add 1 to the attacker's strength characteristic, and obviously buff that with the stratagem, +1 to strength, maybe, and rancor, +1. You know, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. So if you're, it's just timing it. You need to be timing it. There's no point putting this on turn 1 if you're not going to be in an assault. So the next one, Undying Legions. I used to use this one a lot, however, it's got an inherent problem with it. So with this one, I used to use this turn 1 when we first started playing in 9th. So basically, each time you do a living metal roll, you regain an additional wound. Directive 1. Directive 2, each time you make a reanimation protocol roll, you can re-roll 1 of the dice. So I figured, okay, turn 1 gives me a chance to survive turn 1. But what I found is, A, if you're not going first, then the living metal one is sort of useless. You need to go first for the living metal one to enable you to actually do the living metal. So you're stuck with Directive 2, and let's face it, just a re-roll of 1 dice on RP is not actually that great. So now this is my least favourite one. We have Nate's Miniatures who says good morning. Good morning, Nate. How you doing? The last one is Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant. So this one is basically +3 inches to the range of your abilities. So your Mine Will Be Done and your aura abilities and your rights of reanimation. Or Directive 2 is fall back and shoot. Very, very useful. It's just getting them at the right time. Very often, more often than not, I don't. It's like, oh great, I can fall back and shoot. I'm not in assault with anything that can fall back and shoot. Or like, I really need to fall back and shoot. What card have I got? It's not the right one. I've got the close combat one. So getting the order right, it's hit and miss. You can try your best, and it's worth trying your best. I always really consider the order of my protocols, especially the first 3, which I think are the most important. It's just worth at least trying your best to guess the order of these cards, because actually, under the right circumstances, at the right time, they can actually be really good. There you go. That is what I wanted to talk about with command protocols. And I was supposed to play a video in the background according to my piece of paper, but I didn't. So there you go. Never mind. I'm a masochist. I random roll my command protocols. I've done that before. I've done it with Catan powers as well. It's like, I'm just going to roll for it, see what I get. Oh wow, Mr. Fisher.
Super chat.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much. Get a
donating.
burger and chips with that beer. Happy early birthday from your mate across the pond. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Conquering Tyrant works better. That works great with Wraiths and Rad Wraith. The Wraiths can tie up a unit when it comes up, fall back and shoot with the rest of your army. Okay, yes. So, here we go. What time is it? Wow, we've done an hour already. As you know, my streams last for 1 hour because I want to make them rewatchable as possible, because if it's too long, people just won't watch it. So 1 hour it is. I really appreciate everyone joining in the stream. It's been an awesome show. I really enjoyed it. And of course, there will be another one next month. So watch out for that one.